Hey guys, Technomentary here with the video for you guys. In today's video, we're going to review the iPhone 11 Pro Max going into 2022. The top things that you need to know about the iPhone 11 Pro Max, whether you're still using this phone or considering buying this phone in comparison to the iPhone 13 Pro Max that recently came out. What can you expect from this phone and how long this phone will last? Talk about some things like around the battery life, performance, some of the key build and features that make sense for this device, and we're going to discuss all of that and much more. But before we dive into today's video, if you guys are new to our channel, we do a lot of tech news, reviews, and giveaways, so make sure that like and subscribe button. So let's dive into the iPhone 11 Pro Max. As you can see, the iPhone 11 Pro Max is definitely a beautiful device. As you can see here, the device itself with a 6.5-inch display sits really well and nice, and this is where you still have that rounded edge and made the phone really just slick and simple in your hand. It weighs just under 8 ounces or so, and this is the bigger size phone, not to get confused with the 11 Pro or the regular 11. The Pro Max is the biggest one that you can get in its shape. Now the 11 Pro Max was released along with the 11 and the 11 Pro back in September of 2019. Now, if you're thinking going into 2022, this phone, well, it's just a little over 2 years. But if you really think about iPhones over the years, iPhone 13 came out after 12, but 2 generation old phones, doesn't seem like there's a lot going on. And generally with Apple phones, they don't tend to have big upgrades besides little upgrades here and there. And that's kind of brings us to our point about this build design. The build design on this phone, again, really unique. You have that stainless steel body to it. You have those triple cameras going on. You got that matte frosted back as well. This back here is a glass back, so you can do wireless charging on this back. And also this phone is IP68 rated for it to be able to be water resistant and dust resistant, splash resistant. Basically, this phone is water resistant like most smartphones these days. And then in terms of getting this phone, as you can see here, we have the gold edition of it. You can also get this phone in silver, graphite, and then the special midnight green color as well. So those are going to be the characteristic of the design and the body of the 11 Pro Max. Now, if we talk about the next thing, which is going to be hardware, this phone does have a pretty good hardware built to it. So the phone itself has that A13 Bionic chip with 4 gigs of RAM, which is, again, in terms of performance, 20% faster in terms of CPU and GPU than the A12 Bionic chip. So in terms of multitasking, playing intensive game, just using multiple apps back and forth, this phone definitely gets the job done, especially with that 4 gigs of RAM and that 3rd generation of neural engine that's built into this device. So no issues there. And let's talk about the next thing about this iPhone, which is going to be the display here. Here we cover the display. As you can see here, 6.5-inch display. This is a OLED display, and it's a 2,000,000:1 contrast ratio, which basically means is that this phone is pretty bright. We would say it's probably one of the brightest smartphones we've seen on the market. And the other thing about the phone is that the night mode or the dark mode that you can enable in the display to really give you that sort of energy saving burst of brightness and a vibrant display that comes with it. You also have True Tone, which allows, of course, the phone to be able to adjust the lighting based on the condition that it has. And now let's move on to the next aspect, which, again, if we mention without anything, most iPhone, you're going to be looking at cameras. Now, by default, you see they are that 312 megapixel camera on the Pro Max, which at the time was pretty much the best camera that you can get. Even with the iPhone 13 Pro Max, you still have those triple megapixel camera. Of course, there's some slight improvements on the camera itself, but these cameras can actually take really good smart HDR photos, and along with them is paired with that deep fusion that allows you to take some really awesome night mode pictures that we were able to do. So in terms of even things like photography wise, you're able to take really good portrait mode, and you have all these options to be able to take things like the studio light that allows you to do a lot of that. Also, you are able to do 4K video recording up to 60 frames per second. So you can see here, we're able to just go from 24 frames per second, 30 frames per second, and up to 60. So if you're looking to do YouTube videos, simple blogging, all of that stuff can be done. And the other neat part about this phone is the ability to zoom in and out with even in recording 4K. So you got all of that and much more going for this phone. Now, next thing we're going to talk about is performance. So when you talk about performance, it's really going to coming down to, does the phone perform like it should on all the apps that you want to use. So we test this phone on all of the major apps that you simply would use, from TikTok to all the social media application that you use, from video streaming apps, from YouTube, Netflix, all of your favorite apps and much more. All of the apps work without any issues. Of course, that's because it does have that A13 Bionic chip with 4 gigs of RAM, as you mentioned. And in terms of the software on this phone, so if you are thinking of upgrading to iOS 15, we were able to successfully upgrade to iOS 15, and we'll leave you guys a review link of iOS 15. But basically, iOS 15 performs like it should on an iPhone 13 Pro Max. The 11 is no exception to that. It can take advantage of all the new features such as FaceTime link, those focus mode, in video, of picture-in-picture video, and all of that and much more that you can kind of look in our review video that we have done. So there's essentially no lag or crash or issues that we have experienced. Now, if you're thinking about a phone that you want to use for years to come and couple more years, this phone will definitely get a couple more updates. Expect this phone to be good for another 3 years, if not 4 years, and even longer. Now, the other thing we want to mention about this phone is the battery life. So battery life, if you really think about it, it's really important nowadays, especially if you're a person that uses your phone all the time. As you can see, this phone we used for about 2.5 years. The battery life, of course, not at 100%. The battery health went down to 83%, and that's expected if you use a phone heavily. And that's not to say this phone doesn't hold up well. It does definitely hold up really well because it has close to 4,000 mAh battery. And if you really want to get to the exact number, it does have a 3969 mAh battery, which gives you about 20 hours of video playback. Now, if you compare that to the iPhone 13 Pro Max, which gives you around 28 hours of video playback, this phone on a full single charge, you can expect it to be able to last you most of the day without needing to charge again. Now, finally, let's really talk about, is the iPhone 11 Pro Max worth it for you in 2022? We're going to say it's going to come down to a couple things. The first thing we want to mention is that, are you looking for some key features that are missing, like the 5G support? Not sure why 5G wasn't supported on the 11, but after the iPhone 12 is where you get 5G. So if you're looking to get 5G support, the iPhone 11 Pro unfortunately does not have that, along with other things like in the camera space. Although it does have exceptionally really good camera, it doesn't have cinematic mode or the macro mode, which allows you to really zoom into things. It doesn't have the other thing display wise, Pro Motion or the ProRes 4K video. Again, the last thing is probably you're looking at is, as you know, with iPhone 13 coming out now, there is 1 terabyte storage, and the iPhone 11 Pro Max unfortunately goes up to max of 512 gigs. So if you wanted to use this phone and have the most storage, because you take tons of videos and photo, like crazy amount, then you're probably going to be looking to get a phone with 1 terabyte, the max that you can get in terms of storage. Now, the sweet thing about the iPhone 11 Pro Max right now is that the price that you can get it at. This phone originally started at that $1,100 price tag, and taxes almost $1,200 to get the base 64 gig model. Now, if you're looking for this phone, you probably won't be able to buy it directly from Apple because, again, Apple does not sell 2-generation old iPhone on their website because they want you to upgrade and pay the full price for a new iPhone 13 Pro Max, because the 11 Pro Max still does everything 13 Pro Max with some, of course, exception of key missing features. So this phone you can actually, if you're looking at, you're probably going to get a pre-owned or used or from a store or some carrier. But if you're looking for a pre-owned phone, you can get this phone around $450 to $600, maybe $650, depending on the storage that you get. And we're going to leave you guys the link in the description section so you guys can go ahead and check those out if you're interested in buying iPhone 11 Pro Max. And that kind of gives us the last point, which is the iPhone 11 Pro Max worth it in 2022? It definitely is worth it. And if you're still using it, we want to hear from you guys. What's your thought and opinion on the iPhone 11 Pro Maxes? Make sure to leave a comment in the comment section. Thanks for watching, guys. See you guys next time.